Welcome back to Bree's Dark Desserts. Today we're going to be making a dark chocolate raspberry tart while I tell you the true story of America's 20th century Black Widow. She smiled sweetly, she laughed often, and behind that giggle was a trail of death, the woman history remembers as the giggling granny, America's Black Widow. From the 1920s through the 1950s, Nanny Doss charmed neighbors and family alike. But her warmth was a disguise. Behind it, she was quietly poisoning those closest to her. If you'd like to bake along, you can find the full recipe in the description box below. So without further ado, let's dive into this dark dessert together. Nanny Doss was born Nancy Hazel on November 4th, 1905 in Blue Mountain, Alabama. She grew up in a poor family with strict parents. Her father was controlling, forcing the children to work on the farm and prevented them from going to school. Nanny only completed up until 6th grade, and at age 7, she suffered a head injury in a train accident, afterward suffering from headaches and blackouts, something many later speculated may have contributed to her unstable behavior. At 16, she married Charlie Braggs in 1921. The marriage was troubled from the beginning, and together they had 4 daughters. 2 of them died under suspicious circumstances, though at the time their deaths were attributed to food poisoning. Charlie left her in 1927, taking their oldest daughter, and left the newborn with Nanny, fearing that she would harm them all. Over the years, Nanny married 5 times, and at least 4 of her husbands are believed to have died by her hand. She often used arsenic, slipping it into food and drink. Her second husband was Frank Harrelson, married in 1929. Nanny met Frank through a Lonely Hearts column, personal ads in a newspaper. Frank was a heavy drinker and abusive. She poisoned him with rat poison mixed with corn whiskey in 1945. Her third husband was Arlie Lanning. They married in 1947. He was another Lonely Hearts match. Arlie was also an alcoholic and a womanizer. He died suddenly in 1952 of heart failure, but an autopsy was never done. After his death, Nanny burned down his house for the insurance money. Marriage number 4 was to Richard Morton in 1952. Nanny married Morton in Kansas. He was not abusive, but he was unfaithful, so she poisoned him with arsenic in 1953. Her final marriage was in 1953 to Samuel Doss. Samuel was a Nazarene minister in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He wanted Nanny to stop reading romance magazines and watching soap operas, which angered her. The pattern finally came to light in 1954 after the death of her 5th husband, Samuel Doss. Samuel had been hospitalized earlier for several digestive symptoms, but recovered shortly after. But soon after returning home, he suddenly died. This time, doctors were suspicious, so they performed an autopsy, revealing that he had large amounts of arsenic in his system. But her victims were not limited to her husbands. Family members, including her mother, her sister, her grandson, and her mother-in-law, also died under suspicious circumstances. Her mother, Louise Hazel, came to live with Nanny after Arlie's death. She died mysteriously in 1953. Her sister, Dovie, sickly and bedridden, died after Nanny had visited with her. Her grandson, Robert, died suddenly after eating food from Nanny in 1945, and her mother-in-law was also suspected to have been poisoned by her. When confronted, Nanny Doss confessed. Authorities determined that she had killed at least 11 people, though some believe the true number could have been higher. What stood out to investigators was her casual, even cheerful attitude during questioning, which earned her the nickname the Giggling Granny. She explained her motive as seeking true love, but being disappointed by her husbands. In 1955, Nanny Doss was convicted of murder of Samuel Doss. She avoided the death penalty by pleading guilty and was sentenced to life in prison in Oklahoma. She died in prison a decade later in 1965 at the age of 59. Nanny Doss's case highlights how during the early and mid-20th century, poisonings were often overlooked as natural deaths. Her crimes went undetected for decades because of many factors. 1. Poisoning was often misdiagnosed as a natural illness. 2. Many victims were already sick, elderly, or heavy drinkers. 3. Small-town doctors rarely ordered autopsies. And lastly, she moved frequently and used lonely heart ads, making it harder to connect the deaths together, until one suspicious doctor insisted on an autopsy. Today, her story stands as one of the most disturbing examples of a female serial killer in American history. Bible stories like Jezebel, Delilah, and others in Scripture, Nanny Doss showed how deadly deception can be when it hides behind charm and false love. The Bible warns us that evil often disguises itself as kindness, but the truth always comes to life. In Proverbs 5:3-4, it states, "For the lips of an adulterous woman drip honey, and her speech is smoother than oil. But in the end, she is as bitter as a gall, sharp as a double-edged sword." This verse perfectly mirrors the case: sweetness on the surface, but deadly consequences beneath. This has been Bree's Dark Desserts. If you enjoyed this chilling tale and decadent treat, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss another story with your fellow dark bakers. Until next time, may your day not only be sweet, but blessed, and may the stories and treats inspire both your heart and your hands.